Of course, it's the weekend prior to the last Thursday of the month, which meant that, of course, at some point during this weekend, Kaz was going to head over to Twitter or X to drop the silhouettes for GT7's next update, and he's done exactly that. So, in today's video, I'm going to take you through what I believe all four of these new cars to be. But before we get into this video, I'm trying to get this channel to 70,000 subscribers, so if you want to stay up to date with everything Gran Turismo 7 and motorsport gaming related, then feel free to leave a like, subscribe, and of course turn your notifications on. Anyway, let's get to it. So here are the four silhouettes for the four new cars coming to Gran Turismo 7 next week, presumably on the final Thursday of the month as always. Now, two of these cars we do already actually know. That is the Corvette Vision Gran Turismo cars in the form of the CX and the CX-R race car. So I will very quickly just go over those two to begin with. So let's begin then with the front right silhouette. Now, of course, this is one of two cars that we already know is coming to the update in the form of a Corvette Vision Gran Turismo. And the front right one here, well, it's very obviously the road going variant, the Corvette CX. Now, of course, this is intended to be a look into the future of the Corvette model itself. As for the car, it is extremely powerful, extremely quick, and an absolute road going monster. It does feature active aero 4-wheel drive, a res system which puts out over 2,000 brake horsepower. It has fan downforce as well, which is absolutely ridiculous. Very much a modern day fan car, so fans of that will probably absolutely love this thing. And in terms of the car itself, as we can see, it is very much a futuristic Corvette. However, in terms of the styling and such, they've done a pretty good job of keeping this kind of modern day Corvette design, that very sleek, angular, aggressive front end, and of course around the back, what seems to be a rear end inspired by the latest generation of Corvette, the C8. Now, one thing I definitely will say for the Corvette CX, and it actually relates to the current day Corvette C8, is that a lot of people were mentioning when they first saw that car that Corvette had gone very European with their sort of styling and design, and it doesn't seem like that's going to stop anytime soon, and is probably the new design direction for the Corvette going forward. Again, keeps that very rounded rear end, but keeps that very sleek, triangular and aggressive front end. Overall, I actually really like the look of this thing. So yes, very obvious this one. The front right silhouette is of course the Chevrolet Corvette CX Vision Gran Turismo. So next up is the front left silhouette, and once again, just like the front right, we already know what this is. It is the twin to the Chevrolet Corvette CX. This is of course the Corvette CX-R, or the racing variant of the Vision Gran Turismo car. However, this is a much different beast overall. Of course, this features very much more aggressive aero than what we see on the street version. It is a full-blown racing variant, so it is made to go long distance, and of course made for endurance racing, which is what the Corvette motorsport brand is known for, draped in those iconic yellow and black colours. Now, in terms of the car itself, it is again a bit different. So overall, more aggressive aero package, much more lightweight, and overall a much lower ride height. Now, in terms of the engine in this one, it is a hybrid twin turbo V8, and it is an absolute screamer. If you've watched the trailer by Corvette or Gran Turismo, this thing makes an absolutely amazing sound. Now, there is something else to notice here. Now, I don't know if it's intentional or these screenshots have been around for a while, but it is draped in Michelin tyres. So it is a possibility that we could see that sponsor come back for Gran Turismo race cars once again. Now, in terms of the actual car itself, I feel like this will probably sit in the Group 1 category, just due to the sheer performance of it being a Vision Gran Turismo car, and of course a racing variant. However, there is the possibility that it might not fit in a group whatsoever. Overall though, I do think this one is going to be a firm fan favourite. Yes, it's a Vision Gran Turismo car, but if you've seen the trailer and seen the performance and heard the sound of this thing, it seems to be absolutely a nice step in the right direction for those Vision cars. So yes, the front left silhouette is absolute confirmation now of the Chevrolet Corvette CX-R coming to Gran Turismo 7 next week. Let's move in to silhouette number 3 then. So for the third silhouette, we're going to head over to the back right then. As we can see, this silhouette is giving almost nothing away. However, it does seem to have a very distinct body shape, and I feel like this is giving me a good idea of what is under there. I believe this to be the Renault Avantime. Now, as you can see, this is basically a minibus family car. I'm not quite sure what it actually falls under in terms of car category, but it was very well known in the early 2000s for being, I guess, way too ahead of the sort of curve of these kind of bigger family cars at the time. It was kind of seen as almost unnecessary. I know here in the United Kingdom, it sold very, very poorly, and I believe most of the world as well. It didn't sell very well and sort of disappeared very quickly after it was put on sale. Very much a concept car that was put into production very much ahead of its time and then just kind of phased out and disappeared, but did receive a pretty big cult following. I think you've probably heard a lot of people actually mention this car over the years for just how weird, wacky, and I guess strange it is. Again, it's that French quirkiness around that time. Renault tried something different. It looks absolutely bonkers. I'll be totally straight here in terms of this kind of design of vehicle. It looks like nothing else you will ever see or probably ever see again. Of course, if you're from the United Kingdom, when Top Gear was revived, there was an episode actually very heavily featuring one of these where it ended up with a Formula One wing on the back. It's very difficult to get still images or good quality images of it, but here it is with a Honda Formula One car, or Super Aguri I believe, wing on the back of it. I think the whole kind of premise of the episode is that they wanted the Renault Avantime to actually beat a Mitsubishi Evo around the Top Gear test track, and as you can see, they got up to all sorts of mischief just trying to get this thing to be very much quicker. Again, maybe not to my personal taste of car, but I can appreciate that Gran Turismo is there to feature every type of vehicle, and I certainly feel like something like, you know, the Avantime, which does have a bit of a cult following, definitely deserves its place, and I can just see the lobbies full of this thing in a daily race A causing absolute carnage. I feel like that will be just hilarious. Okay, the fourth and final silhouette, the back left, definitely the most difficult of the bunch to actually predict, and I'm kind of going two ways with this. My head's telling me one thing and my heart's telling me the other, so let's go with my head first. Now, this could possibly be the SU7 Ultra, of course, the vehicle that's absolutely destroying the Nürburgring records at present over the last year or so, the brand that's absolutely came out of nowhere, and of course, Polyphony have got this partnership with the Xiaomi brand into the future. They've already rebranded the Nürburgring. The car was announced in June at the London Gran Turismo World Series event, and of course we haven't seen anything of the car. However, it would seem strange that they announced this partnership and the first car they put in, not only do they put it towards the back of the silhouettes, not making it the poster child of the update, they also put it in alongside another partnership, which is clearly Corvette, in which they're getting their two Vision Gran Turismo cars shown off here. So for me, in that sense, it wouldn't really make sense to go to all the lengths they did about the whole Xiaomi kind of partnership deal and the whole interview and the showing off the car and such, and the whole records and stuff that they put on screen for it, to then just shove it at the back of the silhouette image, and then of course plop it inside an update in which we're also getting two Vision Gran Turismo cars with the sort of Corvette and Polyphony collaboration there. So I feel like in that sense it might possibly not be the SU7, but it does match up with the whole kind of roof aero and such that we're seeing, and a very kind of low rear wing. Again, it does have one, and it does seem to have a sort of low rising rear wing that doesn't quite go higher than the back of the car. So in that sense, it could be the SU7. But let me tell you what my heart's telling me. So my heart is telling me that this is not the SU7 Ultra, because it doesn't really make sense that Polyphony and Sony would go to all the lengths of showing off the sort of Xiaomi partnership to then shove it at the back of the silhouette image and put it in alongside another partnership between Corvette and Polyphony themselves. What my heart is telling me is that this is actually the Toyota Celica ST185 WRC car that won the 1993 WRC season. Now again, the silhouette itself is incredibly hard to decipher, and they are very, very much known for hiding away a lot of detail in the silhouette itself to make it even more difficult for people like me to predict. However, there is a few things that do kind of match up. Number one is the roof aero, number two is the low rear spoiler, which the ST185 did have, and I'm probably way off on this one, but if we look where the front of the bonnet actually actually ends and where the front bumper would naturally begin on the ST185 as well as the ST165, there was the area where the front lights would actually fold down, and it would give this sort of black strip across the front of the car before it then went downwards onto the front bumper. And again, it does seem to very closely resemble that. I could be absolutely way off here. I've also seen suggestions that it is again the SU7 Ultra, which it absolutely could be, or even some new type of the AFEELA prototype that we saw, or the official full version release of that, which would be massively disappointing. Again, it's probably just wishful thinking on my part, but it does seem to have sort of a high ride height, a low rear spoiler, roof aero, and again that sort of black strip across the front that the ST185 did have. Of course, the ST185 has been shown in previous Gran Turismo titles, I believe up to Gran Turismo 6 once again, in which has then not shown itself since. We already have the ST205, so I feel like this would be a great addition alongside that, and once again goes quite far into bulking up the rally category. Of course, only a couple of months ago we did get the Lancia Delta Group A rally car, so this would be once again another Group A rally machine. But anyway, that's just what I believe the new cars to be with the upcoming update. Of course, we've already had two of them absolutely confirmed as coming at the end of this month in the form of the Corvette CX and the Corvette CX-R. The back right I definitely believe to be the Renault Avantime. Again, it's just a very quirky car, and I wouldn't put it past Polyphony actually putting it into Gran Turismo 7. Hopefully we do get the add-on of being able to put a Formula 1 spoiler on the back. That would be absolutely hilarious to just have those Top Gear moments. And of course the back left, whilst again it could be something like the SU7 or maybe even again some type of AFEELA or such, I do really believe this in my heart to be the ST185, but again that could just be purely wishful thinking. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care guys, peace.